Hey, good morning. It's Robert Ridpath from Health Synergy, and as you can see, I'm in a tent, and last night I slept out in a tent. I'm about 5 hours north of Toronto, Canada, a place called the French River. And what's really kind of interesting about being up here is, you know, living in a big city like Toronto, you see all the hustle, the bustle, and it really generates all the materialism type stuff in us, and we get caught up in all the stuff we want, and we forget about all the stuff we already have. And this video is really for you on helping you develop that attitude of gratitude, because that's going to reduce stress in your life, it's going to give you more fulfillment, more peace of mind, and so on. So what I want to do is give you a little show around here, and we're going to look at this whole idea of attitude of gratitude and appreciating what you really got. So let's go take a look. So I slept in a tent last night, and I could have chosen to sleep in a trailer, or even beside the trailer. There's a little bunkie, as we call it, you know, a roof over my head and so on, but I chose not to. And there's always that thing called contrast that allows us to differentiate between what we have and what we want. So the sun's just coming up over my shoulder. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. And as I said, I slept in a tent. I could have chosen to sleep in that one kind of little cabin, or even still, I could have chosen to sleep someplace else. And as you see, some of the places that we actually could have slept up high on this cliff overlooking the lake, I could have slept in some of these beautiful cottages. But I chose to sleep in the tent. And I think you can relate to this for a couple different reasons. So I think you can relate to this to a couple different reasons. My kids were saying something about, you know, there's spiders, there's bugs and things like that up here, right? However, I said, well, what do you think? Oh, I slept pretty good. And when I asked them, you know, what do you look forward to? Oh, going home. Why? Because I want to sleep in my own bed. So right there, that simple contrast between what you have and what you want, the attitude of gratitude comes in. All of a sudden, they're really going to appreciate their own beds. Something that's small, that's subtle, but it starts small and it builds. So let's build on this even more. So one of the things that's important is learning how to take charge of the thoughts going through your head and what they mean to you. And don't wait for something good to happen. Make it happen. Look around and find the good in the simple things around you. For example, I'm up at this cottage just looking at the water, at the lake, and so on. It's absolutely beautiful up here. So it really puts things into perspective, this whole idea of contrast. Yes, you might not have it the best and living in a mansion and so on, but do you need that? And if you feel you're that way, how about think about other people, because they may have it worse off than you. As a matter of fact, there's always somebody who has it worse off than you. So use contrast and don't wait. Look for the good right now. So one more point. When we're looking at this idea of lack versus abundance and the attitude of gratitude, we have to look at this idea of the future. A lot of people think about the future, what's it going to bring, and so on. And what happens is that generates feelings of uncertainty and fear. And that's when we're thinking down the road. What about if we think now? And all the experts talk about what's really important is be present, right? For relationships, for everything you're doing, get present. If you have the attitude of gratitude, that allows you to focus in right now on the present, on the moment, and that surfaces positive emotions, and that starts making you feel a lot better. You know, a couple other things to think about as we're going through this whole kind of lack versus abundance is, remember our parents talked to us, and maybe you've had this talk with your kids, that whole wants versus needs type conversation. Very important. See, in our society, with all the advertising and marketing, we have a lot of wants, if you will. Marketing or consumerism, it's generated that in us. And when we have all these feelings of want, and we look at all the things we want, it really creates that feeling deep inside of us emotionally of lack. We don't have this, we don't have that. And whenever you get something, remember, there's always going to be something better, newest, latest, greatest. So again, it's always generating the feelings of lack. when we start focusing in on the things we really need, then all of a sudden it starts changing the feelings inside of us. It starts changing how we interact with the world and so on. So very important. Yeah, maybe you need a Ferrari. Well, do you really need it or do you want it? Versus a more functional type vehicle, right? Same with your house, with the clothes. Everything about us is and can be broken down to this whole idea, needs versus wants. And if we start focusing on all the things we really do have in our life right now, and all of a sudden we realize, hey, I actually got it pretty good. Things are going pretty good. I'm doing okay. So we have to really come back to this whole idea of wants versus needs and focus on our true needs and not on our wants. That's going to generate those great feelings of abundance. So one other important point about this whole idea of reducing stress, because that's what we're talking about, reducing stress, and we're going to do that by focusing on abundance versus lack. And one of the things we need to do is take control. Take control of our thoughts. Take control of how we're seeing the world. Then that's going to generate positive thoughts and feelings. It's going to put us into control, and that's going to make us start feeling better. And when you start feeling better like that, you start asking better questions about the world and how your environment is. And if you want to put things into perspective, start asking yourself, how good do you really have it? How lucky are you? And if you want to end your day off right, go to those who are close to you and start asking yourself, and then tell them, how did I get so lucky to have someone like you in my life? All right, short video from up at the cottage. I'm Robert Ridpath. I hope you enjoyed this video and apply some of these simple concepts and have more abundance in your life and have the attitude of gratitude. We'll see you next time.